if we do these big three. Some of you that I coach probably would have heard some of that, and it may be a repetition, but that's a good repetition because the idea is to really take this as action steps and begin to apply. So the big threes are know, track, grow. How do we scale up? It doesn't matter if it's 22 or any other year, it's know, track, and grow. So I'm going to, in the next 5 minutes, unfold this. What do we know? What do we have to track? And what do we have to grow? And I'm setting this up really for success in forecasting for business growth in 2022. And today, as Marcus takes us through DigiPro and in budgeting, these are not busy works at all. This is not, let's just spin wheels. We are preparing to expand our businesses in more success and scale them up if we know, track, and grow. And it all starts with the prep, the budget prep that we do November-ish, December-ish, or even hopefully some of you have started in October and so forth. So let's tackle the know, track, and grow. What does it look like? We need to know your top line. You need to know for your business, your top line. And what I'm finding out, and just so you know, my background also, one of the nonprofits that I've started, and I still continue to lead that. I've consulted numerous businesses from different industries, not necessarily the landscaping industry. And so I have talked with numerous entrepreneurs that really want to scale up and grow. And all they know is their top line. So if this is where you find yourself, let me assure you, you're not unique. You're following everybody else. We are so consumed and interested in the top line. The top line tells us a lot, but I usually say numbers have a story, and it's very important to know the story of the numbers. So the top line only tells us one story, one-sided story. And a lot of us are very satisfied to just know that story, but there are two more stories that are very important, and I want to argue that the third story of the grow is the most important story we know of the numbers that we are scaling up every year through our business. So we need to know our top line. We need to track our bottom line. And when I talk about bottom line, and we'll take those just one piece at a time to delve a little bit deeper into it. But when I talk about bottom line, I mean net profit. I literally mean whatever comes into your pocket, whatever's left for you. And it's just, after you've paid everybody else and everything else that needs to go out, and whatever comes to you, that's net profit. Because a lot of people are just looking sometimes at their gross profit and they're just assuming that the net profit would be whatever. But unless we track our bottom line to know exactly what the net profit is, we really don't know what's in the pocket. And so these two things are great information. We know the top line, we track the bottom line, but unless we grow the third line, your profit line, we cannot scale up well. And this is what Marcus and I hope to inspire you and to encourage you and to come alongside to strategize with you in the profit line growth. You should be a business that is in the business of growing your profit line, your net profit line. So let's go with the no, because really this is where it all begins. I just want to jump here for this visual. I'm a visual person. That's how I learn. I hope some of that really helps. But again, look at that staircase. This is like the least threshold that as a business owner you have to conquer. But you have to conquer it, because if you don't know that, I don't know where you're going. So you have to know your top line. What does that mean? What does it mean? So to know your top line, it means that you would know services, and others have grown them into full divisions. But they're basically the legs of your stool. So some of you have 4 or 5 legs, some have 3, and some have many more. I just want to say that if we have too many legs that support one stool, some of them can never be developed well, because then we're just going to be so thinly spread around. And I just want to really caution us all that the thinner we spread ourselves around, the thinner our bottom line gets. Our net profit, we cannot go deep and explore the niche of what brings us the most profit if we want to touch every type of service work that you can do through the ground skies, through your business. You really need to focus. What do you know best? What are the 3, 4, 5 things that you're so good at? There probably, I hope you have 2 or 3 things that you are excellent at, and you really enjoy doing those things. And these are some solid legs for your stool. So when you sit, you don't topple over. You really have several good pillars, so you have a stable business that can sit in. This is how we start growing. We have to know what we are growing. We need to know our business model. Does it look like a lot of maintenance? Is it like a lot of commercial? Is it spread evenly, commercial and residential? Do we have a lot of irrigation? Do we have lights? Do we have projects? They design and build landscaping projects. What does it look like? Do we have turf sprays that are almost like their own separate division because they make $100,000 a year, and you have really professionals that are in it? But you have to know what generates that top line. We start scaling up and our business forecasting by understanding very well what the business model looks like. So the first action step for you is, before you put all the numbers together and you're infilling, the budget numbers that you decided you're going to do, is to understand your profit centers very well, and to understand what percentage each leg, each pillar, each division, whatever you want to call them. That's why I have this visual, those legs of the stool represent. Are they 50% mowing? Is it 50%? Is it 60%? Is it 30%? Is your design build, the landscape projects 30% or 40%? Is your irrigation 20% of the total? So you need to understand that and write that down. You'll understand in a little bit as I go through the whole talk here why it's important when you business forecast for success for 2022. This is where it begins. Knowing our business model, understanding the divisions that make our top line revenue. Then the second thing, I'm just going to open that again, see, track. Okay, so we're going to track. So we know our top line. Then we're going to track our bottom line. And what do I mean by that? So a lot of us, and I've been right there, and a lot of times I'm tempted to be right there. When I continue to lead, I lead currently 2 nonprofits. I kind of let the for-profit go. At this point, my for-profit is working with you. But I am tempted to go and track the top line. And I'm not telling you to track the it might sound kind of counterintuitive, but I'm telling you to know your top line. But what I'm telling you to track is your bottom line. It is your net profit. You need to know monthly, hopefully weekly, but at least get in the habit of monthly knowing what is the net profit of each division, of each service. If you don't have them completely formally put in divisions with professionals and with leads, don't feel intimidated and whatever. We're working through that. We're going to get there. But at this point, at least know these a week. And making sure that everything that you have said, people are working efficiently, you're not overpaying for labor equipment and other things, that your COGS, stay within the benchmarks that the Ground Skies have established, about 60% or less. Your labor stays 25% or so. I mean, so know your benchmarks and track that and track what's left for your net profit. Because when you track it, you have set yourself a success to really do this next thing. It is to grow your net profit. You cannot grow something you do not know. You cannot grow something you do not track. So not only that the bottom line, you have to know it just like you know your top line, but you have to track it on a regular basis after you have looked into what brings you the most profit. I am challenging you for 2022 to decide to allocate, because we began this talk with like, hey, can we grow without growing our labor force and without growing assets, tools, production tools, things that we really need in order to make the business scale up. And the reason I'm saying set yourself a success even with the same labor, with the same assets that you have at this point, is because we just literally don't know what labor is going to do next year or what assets might be available or not available to us. So this is my challenge to all of us. After we have discovered what profit centers bring us the most net profit, can you allocate from the least profitable divisions? Maybe take a person, take some of your tools, production tools, equipment from there, and put it in those divisions that actually make the most profit. So that's my challenge for us, for all of us, to identify the most profitable divisions that we have in our businesses, and then to decide how to allocate for 2022 your labor, your assets, so at the end, you can actually effectively go through your processes with whatever you have currently and grow in net profit. And as you're growing in net profit, that would guarantee you're actually bumping, also growing your top line. So these are the three things that I want to give you one more time, very quickly. I'm at the end of my talk, know, track, grow. So you really want to know your top line, track your bottom line, grow your profit line. We have to dedicate truly a whole talk of how to grow the profit line, because this is what's most